It seems as though the game is over.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that is the discussion that's going on right now.
Goodness.
We're just hearing that goal may have been disallowed.
The Mason Cup is one of the most prestigious trophies you can win in college hockey, awarded to the winner of the CCHA postseason. And on this night in March of 2022, it was awarded twice. This is the story about what happened and why. The Central Collegiate Hockey Association, or the CCHA, is one of the 6 Div 1 NCAA conferences in the U.S. The NCAA is one of the most popular spots for highly touted NHL prospects to go and develop and refine their game. A lot of today's stars like Cale Makar, Jack Eichel, Adam Fox, and Charlie McAvoy all spent time in the NCAA program. And the CCHA is no different, considering guys like Doug Waite, Brian Rolston, David Backus, and Rob Blake all played their college hockey in the CCHA. Even our good pal Buddy Robinson, whose goal at the end of last season is one of the main reasons that Connor Bedard is now on the Blackhawks, played in the CCHA. I covered that in a video a few months ago that you can watch here if you're interested. But my point is that winning the Mason Cup is a big deal, as winning the Cup gives you an automatic berth into the NCAA National Championship, and making it to the National Championship means even more eyes on you from NHL scouts, which can influence the trajectory of your entire career. And that brings us to March 19th, 2022, where Minnesota State and Bemidji State were ready to face off against each other in a winner-take-all championship game for the Mason Cup. This isn't like the NHL playoffs where you battle it out over a 7-game series to determine who the winner is. This is just a one and done. So the stakes were as high as the players on both of these teams had ever played for. The Michigan State Mavericks came into the game as the #1 seed and the clear favorites to win this game, considering they finished the regular season with an absurd record of 23-3-0, and considering they had also beaten their quarterfinal and semifinal opponents by an aggregate score of 19-5. The Bemidji State Beavers, on the other hand, were the #3 seed going into this game with a regular season record of 14-12-1. And their path to the championship game was also a lot tougher than that of the Mavericks, considering they were on the brink of elimination in the quarterfinals of the tournament. So it's safe to say that Minnesota State were the heavy favorites going into the championship game. But it didn't start great for them in this game. After a tight-checking, scoreless first period, it would be the Beavers who would draw first blood on this beautiful tip by Bemidji's Alex Adams. This goal would put the heavy underdog up 1-0 midway through the championship game. But Minnesota State would strike right back less than 10 minutes later to tie the game back at 1, thanks to this gorgeous power play snipe by Brendan Furry.
Deadlocked at a goal each. This crowd still waiting to blow up with a Maverick go-ahead goal, and the Beavers trying to get the lead back and fight their way into the NCAA tournament.
Neither team would be able to score again in regulation, taking us to sudden death overtime to win it all. And it wouldn't take long at all in OT. Less than 4 minutes into the overtime period, this would happen.
Fell down, but Mavericks pick it up, bring it out over the blue line. In on goal, here's Grohl, trying to force a shot. He scores! That's Grohl, cutting across the middle. Hits it over the netminder. Matthias Grohl. And Minnesota State will win the Mason Cup for the first time.
This game was over. They handed out the Mason Cup to the Mavericks. They even awarded the Player of the Game trophy to Josh Grohl, who scored the OT winner. It was jubilation for Minnesota State and heartbreak for Bemidji State, who had come so close to achieving their greatest feat so far in their young careers. But the Mavericks had done it. They were moving on to the national championship. Well, their celebrations only lasted just over an hour.
It seems as though the game is over.
Oh my
So
goodness.
that is the discussion that's going on
Oh
right
my
now.
goodness.
We're just hearing that goal may have been disallowed, but we're hearing that when Grohl cut across the crease, the net popped up a little bit and Grohl slid it under the post instead of across the goal line.
Review, we have a no goal in overtime. We will resume play with 16:58 remaining in overtime. We have a 1-1 hockey game.
That's right. This game, an hour and 12 minutes later, was set to be reset to where it was before the overturned overtime winner. The players would come back out onto the ice for a 5-minute warm-up. Imagine being in those locker rooms. A lot of these guys are of the drinking age in the US by the time they're seniors in college, so I'm sure there were some beers flying around in the Mavericks locker room after their big win. And then just a few minutes later, you're back out onto the ice in the highest stakes game you've ever played in. That's an incredibly difficult position to put anyone in. And then there's Bemidji State, who've been given a whole new opportunity to pull off a huge upset and cement their spot into the national championship. If I had the choice in this situation, I think I'd honestly rather be in Bemidji State's position. You have almost no pressure on you in comparison to the Mavericks. You can go out there and give it your all and hope for the best against the heavy favorites. But unfortunately for them, just over a minute after the game was restarted, Minnesota State would pull this off.
Played it ahead, onto the stick of Smith with a man to beat. He does, and on goal, kicks it back. Here's Scott, he scores! Jack McNeely, he buries it into the back of the net. There isn't going to be any more replays tonight. The Mavericks have done it again.
Just 1 minute is all it took for the Minnesota State Mavericks to win the Mason Cup for the second time in just over an hour. And what a gorgeous play this was too, all the way from the breakout onwards. It all starts with the defenseman on the Beavers who pinches in to pressure the puck. But number 15 on the Mavericks makes this beautiful one-touch breakout pass to a streaking Hobey Baker nominee, Nathan Smith, who immediately realizes that he has a mismatch on his side with a forward covering for his defenseman. Smith, realizing the weak spot on the ice and attacking it with speed, results in him catching a lucky break as number 20 on the Beavers stumbles while trying to pivot to get into defensive position. And then he makes the perfect pass to a trailing Jack McNeely, who makes no mistake in burying the OT winner in the back of the net. The half-packed arena with the remaining home fans who stuck around go wild once again to see their team win the CCHA championship. To see your home team score even one OT winning goal in a championship game must be an incredible experience as a fan. But to see two within the span of an hour? These fans got their money's worth and then some. And to add to the craziness of this game, there wasn't another trophy presentation or another presentation for the player of the game. Josh Grohl walked away from this game with the Player of the Game trophy with a stat line of 0 goals, 0 assists, and 0 shots on goal. Pretty impressive to do in a championship-winning game, if I'm being honest. This whole situation really makes me think about how many things, even at the NHL level, were probably missed because the replay angles or the technology just wasn't there. Like, did Calgary really not score against the Tampa Bay Lightning in OT in the 2004 Cup Final? Did the puck really not fully cross the line? We would probably have a definitive answer for that if it happened today with all the extra camera angles and HD footage that's available. But either way, I'm glad they made the call to reset the game, even if it didn't change the eventual outcome. A game of that magnitude, especially considering these games can be defining moments in these young players' careers, it needs to be finished the right way. I'd love to know what you thought about this whole situation. I think it's one of the most fascinating finishes to a game I've ever seen. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.